Hey, what it do, YouTube? It's your boy Q, and if Super Week was separated into 2 separate weeks, I would have finally had my first perfect week of pick'ems across any regions. 9-1 though, still ain't bad, just so freaking close. But Super Week was filled with a bunch of super fire matchups, and we are now over that halfway point of the season, like we talked about in the EMEA region earlier this week, and we do finally have some NA representation in the top 3 of Americas. But I must say, after dropping A, I don't think I would have ever imagined C9 being the team that'd be right behind Loud in the standing. But let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. Super Week brought us 10 matchups, and it almost started out with an upset when the Sentinels were just literally 2 rounds away from upsetting Loud in a sweep. They started off on Pearl. They looked good against Loud there. They, like I said, were 2 rounds away, but Loud would win the last 3 rounds of the game, able to push things over to Ascent. Unfortunately, though, once they did get to Ascent, Loud was pretty well able to get control of things and walk away, still undefeated on the season. Luckily, as far as for the crowd, though, the second matchup of the day was relatively quick. That way they were able to get out of there quick, fast, and in a hurry, because those 6-set days can be quite long. But as far as for Leviathan versus MIBR, 13-4 on Pearl, 13-3 on Icebox there. So you're talking about a total of 7 rounds for MIBR. I mean, even when you look at just the overall stats here, they really do tell the story, really, of how everything kind of went down here. Now, as far as Saturday, though, we got to start off with quite an interesting matchup between Crew and 100 Thieves, because on Ascent, Crew was able to really run away with things 13-4. And then even the first half on Split, they were able to walk away 8-4, although 8-4.5, not really unheard of on Split, but you get the point, right? But of course, Valorant, it is a very much a momentum game, and we did get to see 100 Thieves take advantage of that. They came back in that second half. Then when they got to Fracture out here, Crew really was not able to get much of anything going, only able to get 5 rounds on their way for 100 Thieves to be able to walk away with the dub. Now that would end up bringing us to Evil Geniuses versus Fury, and that actually started off with quite the surprise here, as Evil Geniuses was able to push them the distance on Ascent. They were able to get all the way into overtime, but it was Furia, however, that would pull off the dub there. Now on Fracture, though, Evil Geniuses, they were able to jump out to a huge old lead in that first half, 8-4, able to keep that momentum under control in the second half, able to push things out to Haven there. And actually, I just realized that that's not showing on my screen. There you go. But then also on Haven, able to go just about the distance. 23 of the 24 rounds, but it was Furia that ended up coming out on top. Another heartbreaker, really, when we talk about for Evil Geniuses there. Now, that would actually end up taking us into our other game on Sunday, which was MIBR versus Sentinels. And Sentinels able to walk away with the sweep here. I mean, able to walk away with a whole bunch of control. We see 13-5 on Pearl, then also able to win 13-6 on Fracture. MIBR just really struggling against, especially some of the better teams within the region. I wouldn't be too surprised to see MIBR potentially look to make a roster change or two here towards the end of the season. But that would bring us to the one matchup of the week that I did get wrong, and that's going to be in that matchup of Leviathan versus 100 Thieves. And I do got to be honest, man, I don't, it's not that I didn't have faith in the NA team. I just personally feel like Leviathan right now is the second best team in Americas. But we can see as far as in the matchup itself, when we went out to Icebox, an absolute banger to start things off, going into overtime, but Leviathan was able to come out on top 15-13 here. And both of these last 2 maps, you know, it proved that this matchup here really was a marathon, both on Haven and Lotus going the distance. But in both cases, it was 100 Thieves winning that decisive 24th round. Now, Evil Geniuses may have actually shocked a lot of people when we talk about how they were able to start things off in their matchup against Loud. Once again, able to come out of the gates hot. I mean, 13-3. Who would have thought that there was going to be a team that would hold Loud to 3 rounds in a map? If you would have told me that, definitely wouldn't have expected that to be Evil Geniuses. However, once we were able to go out to Haven, it kind of started to turn things in the favor of Loud. Loud able to win 13-10, but once we got to Pearl, Well, it wasn't pretty. 13-0, Loud able to come out on top, not conceding a single round. And, that's kind of just goes to show really the strength of Loud whenever they do get rolling. Let's not forget that this is one of the best teams in the world, most certainly the best team in the region as far as for now. Now, that would bring us up to our Cloud9 versus Furia matchup. Furia's only loss had been to Loud thus far in this season, right? Otherwise, they had only dropped a single map to Leviathan. Again, my pick for number 2 in the region. But Cloud9, they came here to play. After dropping the pistol rounds on Ascent, they were able to go on quite the run, only dropping 2 additional rifle rounds. They were able to come out on top in Ascent 13-8. Then able to follow that up on Fracture as well, winning that thing 13-9, able to break out the brooms and really finish things up, really able to seize that control from Fury. And even though Fury appeared to come out with vengeance on Fracture, I mean, you can see they started off hot. It was that 8-round run that was in the middle that carried over both that first half and that second half that would allow Cloud9 to, again, bust out the brooms, which would leave us with our last matchup of the week, of Super Week here, which was NRG versus Furia. And, it pretty well went how you would think. Now, NRG was given a little bit more of a fight than you would expected on the map of Haven, going almost the distance, 13-10. Ascent, though, did look a little bit more the way that you would have expected it to, only seeing 4 rounds going in favor of the side of Crew, and that would actually be NRG wrapping up with another sweep on the week. And I gotta say, 9-1, it ain't too bad, YouTube. How'd you guys do as far as your pick'ems this week? I want to know. Let me know down in those comments below. Let me know which matchup it was that you guys were kind of struggling about. I really thought that Leviathan was going to beat 100 Thieves. Maybe I'm just not giving 100 Thieves enough credit. I don't know. Maybe you guys will have to see where I'm putting them in those Power 5s there at the end of the episode here. But still on the search for that first perfect week. So it is time for us to go ahead and get down 2 of these pick'ems here. But before we do, how's your sleep, YouTube? Do you catch yourself getting headaches after long nights at the grind? GamerAdvantage is a leader in impactful eyewear technology that has been proven to help you sleep better, focus more, all without distorting color or comfort, relieving headaches and eye strain, all while fitting comfortably under a headset. Stay in the game longer with GamerAdvantage. Link will be down in that description below, and when you check out, don't forget that code YoBoyCue hooks you up with that 10% discount. Y'all see me rocking my frames all the time, and even when I do need to take out my contacts, GamerAdvantage still has me covered. Increase sleep and production while decreasing headaches and eye strain. Sounds like a win-win to me. But you know what? Let's go ahead and get down to these pick'ems. It's going to be the first perfect week in any region. I've definitely got a feeling for it. Let's go ahead and get down and do what it do. It's actually going to start off with a banger here in the NA region. NRG versus 100 Thieves. And an interesting matchup here because NRG, if they drop this game, they are at risk of being on the outside looking in come playoff time. Not quite the same pressure as far as for 100 Thieves, but a win here could potentially allow 100 Thieves to just about clinch up a playoff berth. I am going to be taking 100 Thieves in a banger. I'm expecting this thing to go 3 maps, expecting to get maybe 65, 70 rounds between the 3. Hopefully this one will be good. Matchup number 2 for the week is going to be Furia versus MIBR, a battle of those Brazilian teams. Realistically, MIBR is an overtime win over NRG away from having only 1 win in the season thus far. I think Furia is going to be looking to bounce back after that loss versus C9. Give me Furia in just 2 maps. Sentinels do find themselves in a similar position against C9 that NRG is in this week that we just talked about in their matchup with 100 Thieves. If they lose, they can probably kiss their season goodbye. The Sentinels' last 3 weeks aren't quite as tough, but they could lose to Cloud9 this week. But neither of them, though, really want to afford taking a loss here, especially for the Sentinels. I am, though, going to be expecting Cloud9 to walk away with the dub. Now, as much as EG was able to give Loud a little bit of a scare this week, I don't think Leviathan gives them the same opportunity. I do think Leviathan's going to come in guns a-blazing. I'm expecting them to take light work of Evil Geniuses. I'm going to go and expect Leviathan to win in just 2 games. And that's going to bring us to our last game of the week. That goes pretty well the way that you would expect it to. I mean, it's Crew Esports. It's Loud. Go ahead and give me Loud in just 2 maps as well. So that's going to give us 100 Thieves, Furia, Cloud9, Leviathan, and Loud for this week's winners as far as in the Americas region. All right. And just like in EMEA, where I said the Power 5 has become a little more clear, I'd say Americas is similarly in that kind of a similar fashion, right? Now, the Power 5 rankings is rather interesting. Keep in mind, of course, that I don't simply go just off of record and round differential, although I would say most certainly do take that into account. And this week, in week 5, our top 5 is similar to just about those two measurables here, I do got to say. In that number 5 spot here, that's going to be Furia, all right? They're an interesting team because they kind of keep almost every game interesting. Like, they never really seem to really beat up on the teams that you would expect them to, but they do always still seem to be able to come out with like dubs in the games that you expect them to. But they can push it over the top. I don't know if they're quite ready to be able to push it up into that top 3 just quite yet, which is needed as far as to get into LAN, but they do actually play the number 4 team on this list in week number 7. And that team is going to be 100 Thieves. Similarly to Furia, they keep games interesting even when you expect them to kind of open things up a little bit. It's such a bailout of an excuse, and I really hate to use it, but this 100 Thieves team just needs a little bit more time. Maybe they sneak in during LCQs again, but right now, I'm going to go ahead and keep them in that number 4 spot. And at number 3 is going to be a surprise, at least for me. I definitely wouldn't have expected them to be here after dropping Ye, but that's going to be C9. During Super Week, we saw them come out with wins against NRG and Furia. C9 really being able to move their way up the rankings here. I don't know if they are any better than Leviatan. We'll be able to figure that out in week 7 as well. Week 7 is actually looking super nice as far as a nice dope week of matchups. But speaking of Leviatan, they're actually going to be our number 2 team in the region as for now. A couple of rounds away actually from being 4-1. I really do feel like they are the second best team in the region right now. And they do get the chance to kind of control their own destiny from here. They've already played Loud. They've proved that they're number 2 every step of the way. They just kind of have to continue to prove that for these last couple of weeks, which of course leaves us with Loud, right? They have dropped 1 map in 4 of their 5 games, but what's most important is that they're still undefeated. This week should be relatively easy for them against Crew Esports, but I do think they'll be tested at least a little bit in the next 3 weeks, which will be the last 3 weeks of the season. But what do you think, YouTube? Right, wrong, otherwise, my Power 5, my pick'ems? Let me know everything that you guys thinking down those comments below. Or even if you're not going to type anything as far as what you're thinking with my picks or anything like that, just tap in, say what's up, because those comments, along with those likes that y'all about to light up down in that bottom right-hand corner, are the 2 things that really help me out the most when it comes to getting my content in front of more people. And we are chasing down that first 250 subs over here on the channel, which means we're at that point would be a quarter of our way to our first 1K. So do me a favor, smack that subscribe button, turn those notifications on. That way we can catch y'all back here for almost daily esports news, updates, and more. All right. But until we do catch y'all back over here on the channel or wherever our paths cross next, don't forget, with everything crazy going on in the world today, be true, be you, be sincere, game hard and love hard. All right, y'all. It's your boy Q signing out.
If you ain't show something, you just don't wanna be. You wanna be me, but you will never be as fresh as see you.